Cue up the video. What's going on, people? Welcome to an episode of the Off the Ball podcast with me, your host, Chris LeBron. And we having a lot of fun around. We're gonna have a fun show right now. But I got a great group of guests to me joining me. We're gonna talk all about the NBA playoffs, dive into the second round, and talk about some of the surprises, disappointments, and all that in the first round of playoffs. We got Heat Knicks. The Heat are up 1-0. We won't talk too much about that, so whatever. It is what it is. But I got, like, as you see it, a great cast of fellows with me. I got the Hoopers, Fresh and Dub, in the building. What's going on, fellas?
Going on, Prezi?
Going on, man? Good day in the A.
Yep. I got my guy, Kev. What's going on, bro?
Can't complain, man. Another day, another dollar, another month. We here.
Yes, sir. And I got the VP Off the Ball Network, Mr. Solo Cup himself, Mo Murphy.
Another day, another dollar, another Heat victory in April. That's all I'm done. That's all I got to say.
Man, let's all right. We're gonna talk playoffs, obviously. Let's get right into that. The Heat are in the second round of playoffs, which is kind of wild because if you would have saw the play-in, I think most of us were like, "Oh, it's over. Like it's a wrap for them." I mean, some of us were like, "Yo, we need." We got two Heat fans with us. They were like, "Hey, we got to figure this out in the offseason. Pat Riley's still asleep, and all that." So like, there was a lot going on in Miami, and they almost blew the Chicago game, right? That was they played Chicago, right, in the second play-in, and then almost blew that. So like, this Miami team maybe shouldn't even be in the playoffs, realistically. And now we're talking about them being 3 games away from getting to the conference finals. So what's going on? Like how does a team go from being so inconsistent for 82 games and then 2 playing games to looking like world beaters against the number 1 team in the East and a 2-time MVP and a guy who's going to be in the MVP running this year to beating them in 5? Now we know he missed some games, but you still beat and you got him tripping at the presser and all that, being the philosopher and all that, and then being up one game against the New York Knicks on now. So, Kev, talk to me. In your opinion, what do you feel has been the flip? I know the playoff Jimmy is a real thing, but for you, what other things have attributed to this Heat team looking like a completely different team we saw in the regular season?
I'll be honest. I think it's a bigger thing than just the Heat. If I'm keeping it a buck with you, I think it's all the older dudes in the league that are like 30 plus. They don't really value the regular season like that anymore. If I'm keeping it a being with you, like you look at Kawhi, he pretty much started the load management thing. You look at the Warriors, everybody's talking about, the Warriors got the worst away record in the league, blah, blah, blah. And like, bro, come playoff time, all the dogs show up, all the grown men show up. And we built for the playoffs. Like Jimmy, we all know what he do, but even Kevin Love, Kyle Lowry playing their best basketball. And to me, you get there, you got a chance versus anybody, to be honest. That's how I feel. I know that's how Spo feel. He said we like Navy SEALs. We a parachute, drop us anywhere, and we on. And that's just kind of how I feel about it. I honestly didn't. I was up in flames. I honestly did not think we was gonna beat the Bucks. I'm just keeping it a buck with y'all, like at all. No pun intended, but we did. And nothing against Mike Budenholzer. I seen he lost his brother, RP. I know it's a tough, tragic situation, but I mean, like I said, when you got to do that's averaging 36, and then you got all the cool role players, then that's all you need. And Spo, I've been saying, is to me the best coach in the league, and so I'm not even surprised at this point because like we've seen these dudes do this before. Like we have experience. We were just in the Eastern Conference Finals last year, so it shouldn't be that much of a surprise. We have more experience than damn near everybody in the East outside of Milwaukee and Boston. So to me, I mean, it's just what it is, bro. People hate that Heat culture stuff, but it's real. Obviously, like you can knock it all you want to, but it's a real thing. So I'm not surprised at all, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's like you said, like did not expect them to beat the Bucks. I thought maybe it would be 5. I talked to Mo. We thought I remember doing it on my show. I was like, I ain't gonna talk about on this series. I think it's over. Just because, and it's not even like it was a crazy thing. It's like the way they were playing. It's like, how do you expect to beat I know they've had success against the Bucks, but it's like I don't expect them to beat them. They haven't showed me enough to make me feel, all right, they're gonna win this series. Obviously some things went their way too. But for Mo, for you, what do you think has been the biggest thing that's from the inconsistencies of the regular season to being, like I said, 3 games away from going to the Eastern Conference Finals? What do you think has been the biggest thing for Miami?
I mean, I think part of it has everything to do with thinking that you're kind of waiting on playoff Jimmy to expire. Even as a Heat fan, you're like, as he's getting older, so you're like, he's gonna expire at some point. Like the greats who perform in the playoffs, like they get old and they expire. Jimmy Butler's not that superstar in the regular season. Me and Jeff was talking about it. Is the thing about Jimmy Butler that makes it crazy is it's not like he ups his level of game and we watch him in the regular season and we think he can do this. He ups his skill set. Like his skill set changes in the playoffs. Like this
right?
man,
No, that's true. 100%.
he averages 23 to what? He averages 36, 37 points a game against Milwaukee. But like he's shooting step back threes. He's doing everything he can to win games. And like you don't see that consistently from Jimmy Butler. But we know when Jordan did it, when Kobe did it, when LeBron does it. And I'm not saying Jimmy is them because he don't have a championship. So you can't ever label him that. What I'm saying is like when we see, Jordan, he upped the ante. This is the best player in the league. When LeBron upped the ante, he was the best player in the league. When Kobe did it, he was arguably the best player in the league. So you expect them to flip that switch. But you're talking about Jimmy Butler, who in the regular season, nobody has in their top 10. And come April and May, this dude is the top 5 player in the NBA. And it's his skill set that changes. It's not like, oh, we see him do this consistently and he just has another level. The man shoots threes. He'll go 4 or 5 games without hitting a single three. Now he's pulling 5, 6 threes, hitting 3 or 4 of them. Like, so the efficiency and then the adjustments that Coach Spo was able to make. I mean, I know we may not win a championship. I'm not holding on to like Miami could win a championship. I'm not going that far. It's a tough road. And being a Heat fan, you're going to take it series by series. But at the end of the day, I do think you put Eric Spoelstra on a lot of other teams with the real star power that you look at. I know Monty Williams is a good coach. Shout out to Monty Williams. But you put Coach Spoelstra on Phoenix Suns, and I think they're the clear-cut favorite to beat Denver. I think they can win the championship. I think you put them on Denver, and I think they can win the championship. Like, I think we do have the best head coach in the NBA, and you've seen it on display in Game 1 against the Knicks. I mean, even when Jimmy got hurt and missed a few minutes, like, the lead didn't dwindle. Like, we didn't let go of the lead. We pushed the lead. Guys stepped up, but I think it's because whatever Coach Spo is spitting on a daily basis, everybody buying in. So when it comes to the Miami Heat, it's like as much as boring as they could be during the regular season. And I always say this in the regular season, bro, I hate being a fan of the Miami Heat since the big three have left because it's just not fun basketball to watch. But come playoff time, it's just like everybody knows. And the Miami Heat are a bad matchup for a lot of teams because they do have that old school feel to them. They do play that hard-nosed basketball that benefits you in the playoffs, but is not exciting to watch in the regular season. I think you're even seeing it with the Knicks. The Knicks play the same way. They're not always the most fun to watch in the regular season, but at the end of the day, you'd be like, that style of basketball could be detrimental to a Cleveland Cavaliers. It could be detrimental to a Milwaukee Bucks. You're going to have to see a team who knows how to grit and grind and get out wins against anybody. And Miami's been able to do that. Obviously, on the road this far, you had to have some luck shake your way. You lost to Atlanta. You ended up escaping past Chicago. Giannis gets hurt early on in one game and then misses the next game. But then you could tell me Giannis wasn't healthy, but he had almost a 30-point triple-double. Brooke Lopez dropped 30 and 10, in that same game, and they ended up losing because Jimmy Butler went nuclear. And then in the next game, Giannis had over 30, missed 13 free throws. So you can blame, Giannis needs to be a better free throw shooter, all that. But I feel like in the wave of where Miami's at, everybody's trying to figure out how to discredit Miami and talk about everybody else's flaws instead of just talking about the good basketball Miami's played up to this point.
Yeah. Hoopers, fresh dub. You guys,
I know, right, man? Appreciate it.
it's the do-rag. It's the do-rag, man.
Mo said something real important
That's
in the middle of all that that sermon he gave. Pastor Do-Rag over there.
They put that in the Hall of Fame. That's going in the Hall of Fame, that do-rag.
But they take it series by series. Like Spoelstra doesn't focus on he's not thinking about a championship. He's not even necessarily thinking about an Eastern Conference Finals run. But he's going to take every player that he has and he's got to figure out how can we win this series. How they won against Milwaukee, they're not going to win the same way against New York if they beat the Knicks. Let me stop real quick. I need them to wear throwbacks for the rest of this series. Like I don't want none of this modern jersey shit. Nike, get on your job. Nothing but throwbacks for the rest of this series. Like, come on, it's like, come on now, how you mess that up? But yeah, they take it series by series. Like Mo said, like I know it's unheard of, but yeah, Jimmy Butler skill set becomes godly. Like he was shooting 44% from 3 against Milwaukee, shooting 77% at the rim. Like I don't even know if Drew Holiday can defend for real. Like, is that just something we made up real
He
quick?
made me question Drew Holiday's defensive ability. That's
Like-
wild. Like I'm a big Drew Holiday fan. He made me say, "Yo,
No,
Drew, are you
dog
even better
walking
than
that
your
man,
Aaron? Are you even better than your Aaron? Like, what is going on?
Like, how you sneak in here? Bam, like, he's healthy. So when Bam is healthy, outside of Jimmy and Kawhi, Bam is probably the one person that can check Giannis because he can guard him on the perimeter. He can guard him in the paint. He can guard him if he's going to be the roller, if he got to defend the role. So Miami already has a bunch of advantages against Milwaukee. Fresh going to say that too. But it's just like, I don't know. Like Bo said, whatever Spo is preaching, we going to take it game by game, series by series. Jimmy Butler, I know you're not a top 15 player to most people, but you are our best player. And if we down 15, you're going to walk it down for us. And that's what they do. That man walked down 2 different fourth quarter double-digit deficits. Like, come on. Shout out to Kyle Lowry and Kevin Love, my bad. But Jimmy Butler walked down 2 different double-digit deficits in the fourth quarter to win. And both of them should have been won in regulation. They got to call that foul. So, I don't know. Whatever mystical things. Pat Riley, it's the playoffs. Pat Riley up. He really be puppeteering that shit, and we just don't know it yet.
I ain't gonna lie, y'all pretty much summed it all up. The only thing I'll add is it helps that like Milwaukee, they comfortable with them. They beat them before. They know them. So that just made it easy. Like Jimmy know what he could do to them, which we saw in the series. So I think that just gave them even more edge. Like Mo, yeah, you can acknowledge that Giannis missed some games or whatever, but Miami is focused. And although Jimmy hasn't won a championship, he's around so many champions. You know, they know what to do at this time of the year. So I wasn't surprised I didn't think they were going to win, but I wasn't surprised that they were able to. But like you said, they take it series by series. So the way they beat the Bucks, they are definitely going to play the Knicks kind of differently. But yeah, I think playing a familiar team who they know they could be like, they don't care about Giannis. They know how to guard him. All that defensive player of the year cap for Brook Lopez all year. That was cap all season. And I wasn't here for it. So
I'm starting to believe they don't even know what the defensive player of the year should be. Like, what is the criteria? Because sometimes we have our discussions for like who we think are defenders, and it's completely different from what the NBA thinks are in running. It's like when they said Brook Lopez, I was like, Brook Lopez. It's like he's nice. He does some nice things, but like defensive player of the year, like I don't remember watching him and being like, yo, Brook is just. Nobody can do anything because Brook Lopez is there. Like, I don't remember watching a Bucks game and being like, yo, like, I think Drew has done more stuff, to impact the game than I've seen. And Giannis, obviously, than Brook Lopez. I just feel like they're like, all right, well, he led the league in what? Block percent. All right, just put him on there. We need to put big men on there. We need to get big man love because they don't get love. So let's put some big men on that when it's like,
Rudy got 3, right?
Rudy got 3 of them. We got him thinking he might be a Hall of Famer because he got 3 of them. Like, come on now, like Rudy. Come on, it's crazy. I don't know. That's an award. That's kind of what's the criteria and all that. But that's for another.
Y'all say Ben Wallace is a Hall of Famer too. So
Mo, don't disrespect, man. Mo, he stopped Shaq.
So I was the NBA champion though.
Yeah, bro. Come on now. When Rudy stopped Shaq, then he could be Hall of Famer.
He was guarding Shaq 1-on-1 too.
I'm gonna be quiet.
Yeah, you be quiet. Be quiet. You don't even think. Who else you don't think is all? You said some wild names.
No.
We can go a little bit off track. You said a few names that are.
Tracy McGrady.
He said T-Mac not a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, 100%.
I ain't gonna lie. I'm on your side. What did T-Mac really do, respectfully?
Regular season, cool, but like regular season don't make.
How many All-NBAs T-Mac got? Like 7?
Yeah.
Doc Rivers could have had Tim Duncan.
That's a regular.
Well, it's not his fault. Grant Hill's ankles just exploded.
That's a regular season award.
It's going on the resume.
Mo, we were having discussions in the lunch table. Who's better, Kobe or him? That's Hall of Fame enough.
No, I don't know.
Who's having conversations like that?
Oh, was having them at the lunch table.
But I think you probably weren't old enough, Mo, to see those conversations and why that was a real conversation.
It was a thing.
I know about those.
That was a real thing.
All I know is if you came to me and asked me who Kobe or T-Mac. I'm gonna take the guy who's been farther in the playoffs, and I'm not taking the guy who ain't ever been out the first round, bro. Stop.
He was with Shaq at the time, so it's like
Yeah, Shaq though. Yeah, Shaq.
But even still, when it come down to it, and I'm
Tracy had Michael Doliak. Come on now.
if you don't do anything in the playoffs, you're in the Hall of Very Good.
He had Rookie of the Year Mike Miller on his team.
You
Come on now.
You don't have to win a championship, but you can't have on your resume you've never been out of the first.
With Michael Doliak and Theo
Darryl
Ratliff.
Armstrong was his star.
Tony Batiste.
Man, y'all can't. My only thing is,
Tony Batiste.
you
Come on
can't
now, Michael
win the
Doliak.
Hall of Fame after never making it out of the first round. We're not even
Trust me, I hold that against him.
first round.
I hold that against him a lot. Trust me.
Hard, like heavy. That's where I'm coming from. We know T-Mac was a great player, but like, bro, Hall of Famers are made in the playoffs, not in the regular season.
Kobe wasn't getting out that first round without Shaq either. Then.
Kobe also ended up winning 2 championships.
When he got Pau Gasol.
Because he cried and he got Pau Gasol for freaking. He cried his way out. He cried to Pau Gasol. They traded for Kwame Brown. Come on now. That's not even a fair trade. Bro, we traded Kwame Brown for Pau Gasol. It's not even fair. All right.
We're not going down that rabbit hole.
That's a whole other show. Yeah, bullshit, motherfuckers. Mookity here, Mike. The worst draft ever. Rookie 12.2 points a game. All right. Let's talk about the two teams that the Heat and the Knicks defeated. The Cleveland Cavaliers, great regular season, postseason. It was a whole different story. We saw a lot of softness by them. A lot of softness. They did not show up at all. What happened?
Flaws come out in the postseason.
Oh, they were definitely flawed. And obviously the Bucks, we kind of got into what the Bucks and all that. But let's talk about the Cavs, because they came in, obviously Donovan Mitchell. This series against the Knicks was big because obviously we all know what could have happened. The Knicks could have had Donovan, all this, and the Cavs got him and all that. They Knicks won the beating in 3 out of 4 in the regular season, but we know regular season sometimes, the story doesn't tell, and all that. But Knicks went in and they beat them down. Physically, they made them look soft. They got in their heads. They came to the Garden. They didn't know how to act. Cleveland, they were just all messing around. Donovan's yelling at teammates and all that. They were just so flustered. So Cleveland Cavaliers, what do you think happened to them in this series that just got them all rattled up, freshed up? You go first.
Man, I'm going to have to say I definitely picked Cleveland to win the series. I thought they were going to win in 6. And honestly, they just look young on the court. Like the Knicks, brief playoff experience, but it kind of showed. Like I said, they just physically look better than them. Cleveland didn't have no motion on offense.
Offense horrible.
They couldn't get shooter anywhere. And honestly, I didn't feel like Donovan Mitchell led them correctly. I thought he could have did a better job, but this is his first time he's been the guy, right, for a minute. But remember when he first took over as a rookie, it still was like some vets there, and it wasn't really expectations. And then you kind of have Rudy, no matter what we feel about him as an all-star. And they had
Joe Ingles,
Rubio, Mike Conley, Quinn Snyder. So he had a lot of veterans around him. So I never felt like he was like the outright leader in Utah. So now you're the leader. I think playing in New York, remember in the summer, we had all the talk about him maybe going there. So that could have weighed on him a little bit. I just felt like Donovan Mitchell could have been better. But it's not just on him because Garland, like Jalen Brunson destroyed Garland. No disrespect to Garland.
Garland, they can't defend. That's the one thing is you show that, they were able to hide a lot of their defensive flaws with that backcourt. But you could do that in the regular season, especially when you're playing a lot of bad teams. But when you see a same team for a 7-game series, you're kind of going to get exposed, and they really got exposed because they had no one else that you were able to rely on the perimeter. Right? Coro can't shoot, so you can't rely on him. And then their bigs. To me, the biggest thing was their bigs. They didn't show up. It
was so bad though. They started playing Danny Green, so it was like
bro.
Stuff out. Mobley showed. I like Evan Mobley. I'm super high on Evan Mobley, but he showed that he still got another step to take too.
Yeah, he needs some. He needs to get in the weight room and all that. But he's young, so I expect him things to grow. But like Jared Allen, nah, he don't get no pass. He played soft. Like Josh Hart's getting in you, bro. Like that shit shouldn't happen. You're an all-star level player. It just showed that, coaching. I think JB got a little exposed too. Like he was talking a lot of, he was talking some stuff. He was a little confident, and it kind of backfired on him a little bit. But it just showed that Cleveland is a lot farther than we thought. And
Yeah.
I think the tick, the clock is running because D Mitch, he didn't want to go there. Let's keep it a buck, right? He wanted to be he wanted to be a Knick, right?
Yeah.
And now even more, he's probably like, yo, man, I wish I should have been a Knick, because he felt the Garden. It was like, oh, I want that. Because let's be, I don't know. Yeah, because you go to Cleveland and it's like, oh, it's cool. That's cool. That's cute. Go to the Garden. That's like, oh, that's a whole different animal. And like, he thought he was gonna be a Knick, right? When he did the interview with who, he's like, I'm a Knick. I thought I was a Knick. I was waking up and be a Knick, and now I'm in Cleveland. No disrespect, but it's like, I'm in Cleveland. So I think they need to figure things out quicker than I thought, because he got 2 years left on his deal.
Ooh.
And I don't see, and he's extension eligible this year, I believe. I don't think he can sign that. So for Cleveland, so
He not
yeah, yes. No,
they gotta get some shooting though. Like Okoro, I don't know, Prez. I know you was high on Okoro coming out the draft. They gotta find some shooter, and the fact that they didn't address that at the trade deadline, and all they got was Danny Green, that killed so much momentum for this team. They should have. If you was gonna let Kevin Love walk with a free paycheck, shout out to him for getting that, like they've been getting, you should have traded him for something. You should have got
exactly.
you should have got a shooter.
That was
weird.
weird.
You got a veteran big who you could swap out Jared Allen for, because like I said, Jared Allen who's been in the playoffs before. Like, yeah, it was quick and brief, but he's been in the playoffs. So Mr. Robinson exposed him on a whole different level that you don't want to be exposed on as a grown man. And that's just what it is. They got exposed. Like, shooting, Darius Garland is just a bit too small, even against a small guard. But they got to figure it out, though. Get JB Bickerstaff and his horrible rotations out of there.
Man,
it was rough.
That's the thing right there. Is like, bro, how much success has JB Bickerstaff had in the playoffs? I don't even know. You know what I'm saying? And then,
I feel like he's been an interim coach for like 17 years. So
exactly. So I mean, it was a few things. Like y'all said, the shooting. Like, bro, Okoro started most of the games for them this year, and he was damn near unplayable. He was unplayable. Like, he didn't give Donovan and DG no room to operate with. And I'm with Fresh, like, bro, Donovan, he's better. I'm a big Donovan fan, but he's better off in a situation where he can just go in and be himself. You feel me? Like, he don't need to be the leader. Like, he can be, but I wouldn't prefer that for him. Like, if he walked into the Knicks or even Miami, he's going to a set situation where he can go in and just get buckets. But instead, they need him to be himself, and they need him to lead the team too, because he has more playoff experience than everybody on the roster. So it's like, I don't know that, like, I'm with Fresh too. Like, I had them winning it just based off the fact that I thought they were the more talented team, but the Knicks just punked them. Like, it's no real analysis like that. Like, they literally just put their foot in their ass and say, like, y'all too little. Like, y'all ain't been here before. And again, the Knicks have barely been there too, but it's also just like they got that one and they tasted it. And like, Julius wasn't even that great, bro. Julius averaged 14 points a game.
He was good. He was not good. He was not good. RJ wasn't good for a lot of the series too.
That's what I'm saying. It was really just Jalen Brunson was dominant, and their defense was on point. They packed the paint because it wasn't nobody else to guard them, and DG and Donovan Mitchell had to operate in a phone booth. So, I mean, it was embarrassing. Like I said, they got to go get some type of shooters, bro. It ain't that hard. It's shooters out there, bro. It's somebody that can just stand in the corner and knock down shots, bro. Somebody will take that check easily any day of the week. So they got to figure it out. But again, man, I look at it. It's two big red flags. The first one is, how many teams are still starting two bigs in the NBA today? That's one. The only other team is what? Minnesota, and you see how that works out.
Exactly, yeah.
And then another thing, you starting two undersized guards, and we've seen how that play out in Portland. Bro, you can't do that. You just can't. One of them has to be a defensive-minded guard, bro. It's not a good combination, so they got to figure it out, man. Kobe Altman, all them boys in Cleveland, they got to get it right because that was embarrassing.
Do you guys think that they thought that Mobley would take that next leap offensively? So they like, all right, he's not your prototypical other big, right?
Yeah.
That he would take that leap offensively, be able to shoot a little bit more outside, so that would spread the floor more open, so that you could let Jared do his thing and it's not as clogged up. We didn't really see that from Mobley. So do you think that kind of hurt what they were trying to do and affected how they try to, construct their roster? Because the two bigs we've seen, it doesn't really work. But I think they thought Mobley was going to take that next leap, especially on the perimeter, that they were like, all right, he's gonna expand and get better in his perimeter game. And then everything else just gonna work. You know, Jared could just do his thing, and that wasn't the case. So you think that's what they thought, Mo? You think that's something that they may have thought?
Yeah, I think they thought Evan Mobley was finna be what Jaren Jackson Jr. was for Memphis this year. Like, I really think that's and Jaren Jackson Jr. made a leap. I liked him coming out of Michigan State. I thought he was a baller. He's gotten better every year, but like you see, he spreads the floor. So he could coexist with Steven Adams. And so you're looking at Evan Mobley, even though Jared Allen ain't Steven Adams as far as size or whatever, but as far as the role that you play on offense and defense, that's what Jared Allen's supposed to be. And if Mobley could do what Jaren Jackson Jr. could do, if you're going to let me hit shots on the outside, I'm going to hit them. If you're going to let me pull 15 to 18 feet, I'm going to hit them. Evan Mobley didn't do that consistently. And so when I look at that, it's like, and I feel like that's what Evan Mobley, if he constantly gets better each year, that's what I think he can be, is a Jaren Jackson Jr. type player, but he just didn't hit that leap. And so, like, that's just who I think we thought Evan Mobley was going to be. And instead, we watched it over in Memphis of like, oh, yo, what we thought Evan Mobley was about to be coming into the league is exactly what Memphis got over there. And so I think it hurt him because they didn't surround the team with shooting. You got both of your guards are 6'3" and shorter. Like, that's never going to work out, especially if you're trying to win a championship. And I know Cleveland didn't get Donovan Mitchell and think, I mean, you always think championship, but you knew, like, man, it wasn't about a year one plan where we get him right now and it's championship or bust. But at the same time, like, you have way more flaws than you thought. I mean, to lose in the first round is cool in a 4 or 5 matchup, but to get physically dominated and lose 4-1 in a 4 or 5 matchup, that points out more flaws than you actually thought you had. Had they lost in 7, you would have just been like, man, the Knicks were a little bit better than we thought. We took them lightly and they beat us. But to lose in 5 and walk away and we're like, you ain't got no shooting. You're not dominant physically. Like, you can be physically dominated. And you look at a lot of teams in the East, like, bro, I mean, the only team you might can beat in a 7-game series as far as who made the playoffs because of the physical dominance is, I would say, maybe Atlanta. And they got that dude Trae Young over there. So I'm not 100% sure that you would even beat Atlanta in a 7-game series because you'll get physically dominated by Miami, Philly, Milwaukee, Boston. Like, all those teams are literally your kryptonite. And you can't walk into the Eastern Conference next year with literally the 4, 5, or 6 best teams in the Eastern Conference being more physically dominant than you because you're not going to win a championship. You might not make it past the first round again. So they got a lot of things to figure out. But I don't think when they got Donovan Mitchell, and the one thing I do want to say is with the Donovan Mitchell stuff, and I know it's not you, Chris, but y'all Knicks fans got to act like y'all still wouldn't have rather have had Donovan Mitchell than RJ Barrett. That's all I'm saying is they're like, oh, look, we dominated Donovan Mitchell, but that was a different situation. Donovan Mitchell on this Knicks team, the way they're playing basketball right now, makes them like, I would favor them against Miami. I would think they could make an Eastern Conference Finals, and I really think they'd be a real threat against Boston had they made it this far. Had they pulled the trigger and made the trade, y'all can tell me y'all love Obi Toppin and RJ Barrett all you want, but Donovan Mitchell should have been a Knick, and he would have made the Knicks a lot better. I don't care what he did in Cleveland.
Don't worry, Mo.
Don't have the same
2 more years. 2 more
Cleveland.
years. He'll be a Knick. Don't worry.
Yeah, it could have been. It could have been this year. All I'm saying is the Knicks don't have the same problem that Cleveland does, and Donovan Mitchell playing alongside Jalen Brunson with Julius Randle and a defensive-minded head coach in Tom Thibodeau, who's going to play rough and play aggressive. That would have been a way different problem than trying to say, oh, we didn't need Donovan Mitchell because we got him out of here in 5. Like, that was the one thing that bothered me after that series was the Knicks fans are so hard on Donovan.
We got that man, RJ Barrett, future Minnesota Timberwolf. But,
yeah, for Karl Anthony Towns. Great way to,
No. We got too many Dominicans in New York. We don't need another one. We don't need another one. No.
Y'all ain't getting ants.
But Cleveland only scored 100 once. And it wasn't even, the defense wasn't a problem. The most they gave up to the Knicks was $107. But that offense
in 2023.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, the defense was kind of, they did their thing.
The Miami Heat scored 100 in almost every victory against the Milwaukee Bucks, and they were the worst offensive team entering the playoffs. You didn't score 100 once against the New York Knicks, and then you turn around and on Sunday watch the Miami Heat score over 100 points on the New York Knicks. You should be embarrassed of what you
79 in Game 3 at the Garden. Like, they got punked.
Bro,
they got punked. The offense, especially in the half court, it just didn't look like they were comfortable. You know, if Donovan wasn't able to do anything, It just was out of place. So
Gabe Vincent is better than Darius Garland. No, I'm just playing. But
Most that do-rag a little too tight. But Cleveland got to figure it out. Let's go to the Bucks before we finish off and talk more about the Bucks. They lost in 5. I don't think an 8 seed, number 1 seed's never lost in 5 in a 7-game series. There used to be 5-game series back in the day when the Knicks beat the Heat and as an 8 seed. Mo, you remember that? Kev, you remember that?
I was like a baby,
That
bro.
was the year I was born. No,
Baby.
I was like 10 when that happened.
Four.
That's when last time we went to the conference finals and the finals. So,
I was-
but that's other than it used to be 5-game series. But first time in 7-game series that's happened. It's usually gone 6 or 7 and all that. But the Bucks, they're another team that I feel like the clock is ticking. Like we kind of saw this a little bit. Like we talked about that. Like we knew like this roster isn't as good as like they're good regular season. They're gonna do the thing in the regular season, but in playoffs, we all knew, things are gonna be a little different and all that. But now it's really ticking because they lost in 5, and it didn't look good. Right? They blew 2 monster leads in the 4th quarter. Like they should be playing right now. Like even with Giannis hurt, they still should have won. Like I said, we saw what Miami looked like. And like it just didn't make sense what was going on, but they didn't make a lot of adjustments. Drew didn't show up a lot of games too. He struggled from the perimeter and all that. Like Giannis, the free throws, and then just some of the shot selections he takes. The turnaround fadeaways, and it's like, all right, that's like remember Patrick Ewing said, "Did you practice that shot? Do you know how to do that shot?" Like every time Giannis does that, I just want to post that meme. Because I'm like, come on, bro. That's not your shot. That's not your shot. Just drive to the basket. Just do what you do. Sometimes I feel like because he wants to prove something, he wants to shoot 3-pointers and he shoots it at 29% and all that. But I'm not getting into what the series. We know what happened. But is that window closed? That's what I want to ask. Is it closed? Is there still a little light in there, or is it? Or if I'm a Bucks fan, I'm absolutely, definitely, panicking right now and wondering if Giannis is going to dip in 2 years. Is that something that, so essentially, is that window closed, Mo?
With the current roster as constructed, if you told me Milwaukee runs it back as constructed, yes, it's closed.
Yeah. Mo, before you go, so just some things. Middleton has a player option for $40 million. So he could decline it and probably get, more money overall, but he'll probably get less per. No, it's probably 3 for $90 is probably what it looks at. Grayson's a free agent, Brooks a free agent. I think Drew got 2 more years, Giannis got 2 more years and all that. So just some free agent, and Jay Crowder's a free agent, and they gave 5 second-round picks for him, and they DMP'd him for a lot of this series, which doesn't make sense because he shot the ball solid in the regular season. So I don't know what happened there, but just some notes, for going for next season.
Yeah. So the roster currently constructed, yes, I think it's closed. But it's tough to say that when you have Giannis, who's arguably the best player in the league. So it is tough to be like, no, Milwaukee can't win a championship, but they need to make adjustments. They can't play they don't have Pat Riley in the front office, and they don't have Eric Spoelstra on the sideline to say confidently enough that we are going to run it back with this same team. Because you looked at how bad me and Kev are Heat fans. We was upset that we ran it back with this same roster going into this season, but at the same time, the world wakes up and be like, you know what? They got Coach Spo, they got Pat Riley. As much as we didn't trust them from October up until now, they know something that we don't, and they know something that we may never know. But Coach Bud blew leads. He's been known for blowing leads. Winning that championship the year after the bubble has saved him his job. I said even after Coach Bud won the championship that he still possibly should be fired because he was on the hot seat all year, and I know that's unprecedented, but at the same time, I was like, he's going to be their downfall. Boom, look at me. 2 years later, he was their downfall. He couldn't get the job done. I'm just saying. But you don't fire a coach after winning a championship, but it would have been justified knowing the direction that your team is going. Y'all are getting older, and you got a superstar in his prime, and I don't think he has the right coach. Who the right coach is, that I don't know. We'll have to see who's available and who the possibilities could be. But I do think it's closed if you're trying to run it back. And based on the free agency class, I don't see Milwaukee being able to win a championship next year. This ain't a strong free agency class. If you're on the cusp of winning a championship, there's one or two guys that you're looking at that could make the difference. But when you're talking about Middleton could decline his option and want more long-term security and money, you're talking about losing Brook Lopez. You could lose Grayson Allen. Like, I think if you're losing 4 or 5 players on your roster, there's not enough free agents to replace that to feel like we can be back in championship form. And Giannis said it. The goal was a championship. And I know we're going to talk about what he said, but the goal was a championship. So to get knocked out in the first round, there's a lot of self-realization of you got to understand where your organization is at. And you got really one offseason to figure it out, because if things don't look promising for Milwaukee next year, you're essentially talking about going into the summer, the possibility of Giannis being traded for the simple fact he's going to say, I'm not re-signing. And what teams do on my last year of the contract, if he's like, I'm not re-signing long-term and I'm going to wait it out to see, teams will be like, you know what? It's probably our best bet to trade him. So you really have a year to figure it out. And I think that's a tough spot, especially being in a small market like Milwaukee. Like, who are you going to convince to go sign to Milwaukee over LA, New York, Miami, even Dallas? And I'm not saying Houston, but they got a good coach or whatever. They might make some moves. I'm just saying when it comes to cities and markets, bro, you got a lot of teams who are going to be looking to make a lot of moves that are more appealing in all aspects of free agency and this and that, as opposed to trying to convince some guys to come play with Giannis, who can't shoot a lick and can't hit a free throw late in games to try and win a championship. Like, guys aren't taking sacrifices and going to Milwaukee. You've never seen a guy say, I'm going to sacrifice. You never seen a Draymond Green say, I'm going to leave Golden State and go live in Milwaukee. He's not going to do it. It's not going to happen.
Are you joking? Oh, is this Joakim Noah talking?
I'm just saying, bro. Like, who wants to go to Milwaukee? Sell me on Milwaukee and tell me
Milwaukee's all right.
No, it's not.
Milwaukee's
All
terrible.
right.
It's the great value Chicago. Like, it's literally
It really is, though.
Chicago is Wonder Bread. Milwaukee is great value bread. I'm not going. You'll eat it if you got to, but at the same time, that's your last option. That's all I'm saying.
I'm a star.
We're not trying to disrespect the state of Wisconsin. We apologize.
I am Wisconsin.
Hey,
You find me a homeboy.
you know who I feel bad for when guys get drafted, like football, they find out they're going to Green Bay. They
hate their life.
I feel
Did
bad.
you see buddy who just went to Green Bay and he was not looking happy? Like, bro, you hate your life.
But that's real though. Like, imagine, like, all right, let's say you from, like, you Kev, you from Cali. You know, you got the sun, the weather's nice and all that. You a receiver and all that, and then you find out, yo, Kev, guess where you going? Going to Green Bay.
Bro, Wisconsin ain't been cool since T-Pain said Wisconsin. All right, like, it ain't been cool to go there since T-Pain said Wisconsin, and you was only there for a week to go skiing at a resort. That's all I'm saying.
I'd rather be in Antarctica.
That's all I'm saying.
Man.
Oh, God.
It's true though, man. Coach Durant. We know where he's not getting invited to any tournaments.
Oh, man.
to Wisconsin.
I'll never be a Wisconsin AAU tournament champion because they ain't gonna let my team go there because I'm gonna decline the invite. We ain't going. I ain't going.
That's tough. That's why, the draft. When you see guys have to go to some weak cities, it's like, all right, man, I feel for you. I feel for you.
Beauchamp going to Milwaukee because you're like, dang, you get to play with Giannis, but you gotta go live in Wisconsin.
Yeah, bro. Like,
Bro, Malcolm Brogdon said it was the most segregated city he's ever lived in. That motherfucker, he was in Charlottesville, Virginia.
Oh yeah, Charlottesville. We all know what they do in Charlottesville.
Hey, that's all we gotta say.
Say less about Charlottesville.
But bro, like,
yeah, no, that's true though, man. That's true.
They just got to get younger for real though. Like, that team is.
But they got no picks though. That's the thing. All their picks are controlled by, like, it feels like every other team.
That's all about the Astro though. Like,
they just gave away 5 second-round picks for a player that they didn't even play. So, like, they got no picks. So, like, they kind of, like, you go all in for a championship, and that's smart, right? Because you want a championship. So what? Like, if you look at it from afar, it's like, all right, you want a chip.
They
but
won
like,
at the end of the day.
Like, they won, right? So they got the championship. So you did it, but it comes with sacrifice. We saw with the Rams, right? They sacrificed their old, F them picks and all that, right? That's their slogan and all that. But it comes with a sacrifice. It's like, oh crap, we went 5-12. We don't got picks.
3 years down the line,
yeah, it comes to bite you in the butt down the line. And I feel like we're not yet seeing it, but like I feel like in the next year or two, we're gonna see like, oh man, they got no picks. They don't draft good. They really don't draft good. Like, all their players are essentially other people's property,
Yeah, I hope Giannis continues to do it the right way and he's Damian Lillard with 1 championship. Go ahead. Keep doing it the right way and hating on all these other guys who leave and go win championships. Just keep doing it the right
Tell
way,
him to
bro.
stop working out with the
Go ahead, like,
Nazis.
yeah,
Stop working out with the Nazis.
go thug it with your brothers. They're gonna get the other entrepreneur. Like, keep doing it the right way, bro. Because all you right way
Stop
argument
working out
people,
with that bum.
bro, all you right way people are I did it the right way. You got
That's racist,
you ain't
Mo.
got,
I think
you
that's
got 1 championship,
that's
bro.
racist,
Like
Mo.
you got 1, bro. That's all I'm saying.
Mo, you're gonna get us canceled.
Yeah.
I'm just
Hey,
saying,
the Nazis about to be back in Greece too, for
The
real.
Nazis.
bro. Dame did it. Dame did it the right way. And guess what? I ain't trying to hear that.
Constance,
Right way.
Oh,
Mo said
yeah.
he called the Antenna Tupo brothers, the other ones, trash.
Bro,
He said Costas
demand
trash.
a trade, go to a brighter city with a brighter future, bro, and be just like everybody else who has multiple championships, bro. Stop hating on everybody with multiple championships who didn't do it the right way, because guess what? They got 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever it may be. They on the peak of 5, whatever that may be. KD ain't do it the right way, but he might win his 3rd championship while Giannis still sitting in 1 and getting knocked out in the first
Hey.
round at home, bro. That's
And
all.
he's in Phoenix too. He's chilling. Katie's living the life right now.
That's all I'm saying. You can hate on KD for a trade, but guess what? KD might win his 3rd one. We'll see. But KD might win his 3rd one. You'd be like, you know what? KD didn't do it the right way. But guess what? 3 of them say different.
Oh man. All right. So we know what Giannis said, right? We know what we know what Giannis said after, and that's kind of been a big thing. And like, I don't really care about pressers and all that. It's whatever. But this one stood out obviously because we talked about failure and all that, and there's no failure in sports. I think he took that from Kobe because Kobe had once said that. So that's been the big thing and all that, the failure thing. First, let me ask you guys, as I think we kind of look at ourselves as kind of like media in a way, right? We're kind of like, different type of media, but we kind of media. We talk about the game and all that, and no media, right? We're not the typical. We don't, but I feel like the reporter, I think that was a valid question. I don't think it was nothing out of pocket. It wasn't talking about, I didn't think it was too crazy. Like, you lost in 5 to an 8 seed. I feel it, and I think it was perfectly acceptable to be like, hey, do you consider this season, not you? I think people flipped it and turned it into like you calling Giannis a failure. It's like, no, we know he ain't a failure. If he was saying, no, are you a failure? That's different, right? I think we come at him hard. Like, what are you doing, bro? That's you can't do that. You can't ask that. That's a stupid question. He's the American dream, but that wasn't what he's asking. Yo, you guys were the number 1 seed. You guys won the championship 2 years ago. Like, that's the context of it. Like, is this a failure? And then he flipped it. So I want to ask you guys, first, is that a valid question to ask? And then is the response from Giannis, was that a response that you felt like was appropriate? I don't know if appropriate to what, but you think that was that cool, essentially? Was there reason to flip it and all that and try to, I guess, kind of make it the guy look bad? Kev, you go first. How did you feel about that whole encounter?
I mean, first of all, I ain't gonna lie. I think it was blown up like way out of proportion because it wasn't that deep to me. But like, I understand where the reporter was coming from. Like, yeah, you should ask questions like that. Like, when you're a team like that, yes, the aspiration is a championship every year. Mm-hmm. And they did fail. Like, if you're Giannis, bro, you should have just been like, yes, I failed. It is what it is. Not it is what it is, but that's what fuels to make you great. LeBron been through it. Jordan been through it. Kobe been through it. Like, bro, you got to use that as motivation. Forget like trying to flip it and stuff. Like, yeah, you failed, bro. You lost in the first round. And you use that, come back and be greater next year. Like, it's not that deep. Like, he went on a whole tangent and try to rip, bro, and try to say you get promotion.
I don't like that. I don't like that.
Dog, I'm like, bro, like, it's not that deep, bro. You're gonna go home, you're gonna reevaluate, you're gonna get back in the gym, hopefully work out with some other NBA stars because your brother not cutting it, and get back to the lab. Like, it's not that deep, bro. I'm just like, bro, like, I don't know why he had it. Like, he was frustrated clearly from
understood that. I understood that.
He was clearly frustrated from the question and obviously his season ending the way that it did, right? No problems with that. But bro, like, just admit that it is what it is. Y'all failed and get back to it, bro. All the greats have had one major blip/failure in their career, bro. LeBron had it in 2011. Kobe had his. Jordan had his versus the Pistons and the Celtics. Like, it happens, bro. It's part of the process. That part he did say right. Like, it is a process. So bro, it's let it be. Like it happened, bro. You lost, and you lost to a team that you like. Fresh said earlier, you've lost to before. So even though we were an 8 seed, like I don't necessarily, me personally, I don't even look at us like a regular 8 seed. To be honest, like that's what people was missing out on. So it's like
it's not like 8 seeds are like 5 years ago. We're like, all right, we know this is going to be a 4 or 5, maybe a gentleman's sweep in 5. You know, it's not like it used to be.
And that's all I'm saying, bro. So, bro, just get back in the lab and get to it, bro. It'll make you better at the end of the day.
Hoopers, how'd you feel about that?
I felt like he was like Kev said, he was clearly frustrated because you just lost. First of all, I do think it was fair, the question, because as a 1 that's trying to win a championship, to lose to an 8, you know, you got to ask that question. I feel like he was frustrated because he said that he asked him the question before you just offered a loss. So
yeah, last year, yeah, he said
going through the emotions, and like you said, you did flip it to he wasn't asking him was he a failure. So I agree with
that's the mix-up. That's been the biggest mix-up, but everyone like all praising him is like, no, he didn't say he's a failure. He's saying the team and the context. We know he's talking the context of basketball. You know that too, Giannis. Yeah. You should know he's not saying, oh, this is a failure, you failed. No, he's like, oh, this is a season of failure. You guys were supposed to win a championship and get to the at least conference finals. Like that's what he's, you know, that's what I'm assuming that's how he's trying to say it.
Right, and I mean, like he said, he should have just acknowledged, like, all right, even if you didn't want to say your season failed, you should have said you didn't reach your goal at least. Acknowledge.
He could have related better.
So, but yeah, he did kind of flip it, and even within, I didn't think he was being an asshole to him or a jerk to him, because he did try to not personalize it. He said that he didn't try to personalize it, but he kind of was at the same time. So I felt like he was trying to not go off, but he was frustrated. But yeah, they failed. They didn't do what they were supposed to do.
Simple, like
it's that simple. Like he made it into a bigger issue by not just saying, "Yeah, man, we failed," or like you said, like Fresh, you say he could have just worded it different, man. Yeah, we just didn't reach our goal this year, man. But you know what? We're gonna come back next year, and we'll be better. We'll be better next season. And boom, that's it. He made it into like, and then you can see him in the beginning, right? He puts his head down and just starts thinking. He's like, and then that's when he just goes at bro. It's like I felt bad because it's like. And then you see people online like, oh, yeah, Giannis, he's a philosopher. He's this. This is all like, no, it's not. Like Kev said, it was not that deep. Dude, you failed. This is season of failure. Like, do you want to go to the Michael Jordan? Well, how many Michael Jordan? 15 years, you know, do you consider that? Like, Michael Jordan would have said, yeah, bro, I failed. Shaq said on his show, bro, I played 19 years. I won 4 championships. 15 years, I failed. That's Shaq. Jordan said it. Like,
trying to give us quotables.
I don't
maybe.
Yeah, maybe. And I don't know. I think we talked about this in the group chat. It's just such a different culture from America.
Facts.
And, like foreign countries. Like they're not outwardly competitively as aggressive as we are. Like I don't and that's not to say that Giannis isn't a competitive player. He isn't an aggressive player. Right. But I don't think it's not fair to say he ain't got that dog in him because he does. But it is fair to say that he doesn't play with that extra chip on his shoulder. It's like me, Fresh and Chris LeBron. We're from a different generation. If you're from the, I mean, y'all get Mo, Kev, y'all get it too. But if you're from the city, it's different than when you go up there and you play them dudes from the prep schools up in the hills, them Drew Holidays and Aaron Holidays, them players like that. Because it's like, nah, we gonna beat up on y'all. We gonna come, y'all gonna pick and roll and smart us to death, but we ain't worried about all that. Let me get a fast break and I'm throwing it off the backboard, and we've seen that, and I just think that's the difference. So Giannis, I don't think Giannis get it competitively, like not going guard Jimmy Butler just because that's what you're supposed to do, waiting on the coach to tell him to do stuff like that. Like that's just how he is as a player. I don't want to say as a person because that's not fair to him because I don't know him, but as a basketball player, he's just not that competitively aggressive. And it shows in series like this and in those little quotes because, it's like, hey, it's whatever. Not whatever, but it's like, it's whatever, It's not the end of life, basically, which is not, but we're talking basketball right now.
Yeah, it's basketball, too. Like, everybody wanted to turn this into philosophy, and I was like, it's basketball, bro. Did you fail or not? It's that simple. Like, I had people in my mentions like, oh, bro, what? It's deeper than that, man. It's more than basketball. I was like, no, it's basketball, bro. Did you fail or not? The goal is to win a champ, right? The Milwaukee Bucks' goal is to win a championship, right? They are the number one seed, right? Every year they're supposed to be the number one seed, at least get to a conference finals, right?
At least conference finals. That's
At least, if this is the conference finals and this is Axe, maybe like, all right, they got to the conference finals, they lost in 6, whatever. I think it's a very valid question to ask when you lose in 5, and you're the first one seed to lose in 5 ever, in a 7-game series. Like, I think that's very fair. And you're an MVP. You're not just any player. You're literally an MVP player every single year. Like, you're a 2-time MVP, and you probably
player of the year.
You're a defensive player of the year, all NBA, all everything. You're the face of the league, maybe the best player in the league. I think it was valid. And I'm saving the last. I know Mo about to go unleashed. So I'm saving it for last. Mo
don't get to talk about
that. Wait, I want to say something real quick.
Kev, go.
Go ahead, Kev.
1, the next coach should probably be Nick Nurse. And 2, I want to ask y'all, do y'all trade Drew first or do y'all trade Chris Middleton first?
I trade Drew first.
I take Drew first.
But they're probably easier to trade Chris.
I think Drew has more value. I think you could get more for Drew than you can get Middleton. I think you can get more for Drew.
I think that's what the GM got to ask themselves this year. Like, because they got to get some type of you.
But they're going to be in a predicament because, like I said, Middleton has a player option. Let's say he declines it, right? Which I think he's going to do because he's going to want more money long term than just the $40 million, right? Because next year he could be cooked and he ain't going to get nothing next year as a free agent, right? So they're going to force to pay him, right? Because you can't not pay him and let him go somewhere else. Because then it's like him and Giannis and Drew. Is that who you want next year with no cap room space to get anyone else? So they're going to force themselves to get Middleton and all that. But you signed Middleton and he was hurt this year, right? So we got to give him that. Maybe if he's back to being himself, he could be that all-star that we saw a few years ago. But Drew, I think you could get some piece of him because Drew, Jimmy put him in the blender. I never thought I would see that. He put him in the blender. That was like, yo, I love Drew Holiday. I was like, yo, that was Jimmy got in your ass, bro. So I think Drew can get more. No homo. Like he's the most. I need the soundbite. Mal, can you give me that sound? No homo soundbite. But yeah, I think you get more for Drew, but they gotta retain these guys. Brooke, you gotta sign Brooke for 3 for 6. What did Nurkic get? 72, and Nurkic is a bum, so you gotta give him 3. You can't give him more than 4 years because of the over 38 rule. Because you can't sign someone, I think, after 4 years if they're over 38. So they get like 3 for like 60, but they're gonna have to force themselves.
Contract rule?
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't sign for over 4 years if you turning 38 in that contract.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a 38 rule. Yeah. They don't want old heads getting paid. So essentially,
I gotta get up out of here.
Yeah. They gotta get it. Yeah. So they can sign. I think he's 36 right now. So maybe 35. So he can sign a 3-year or 2 or 3 year deal. So they're gonna have to force it. They're gonna have to run it back, unfortunately. That's gonna be an old team, but
same team.
And okay, but do they have any outside of Drew?
No trade.
Who else?
They got no picks. Fresh. They got no picks either.
They trade package worse than Miami Heat.
They're worse. They're in bad shape. They're in bad shape long term. Like in 4 years, we might be talking about them. Just being in the gutter.
1971 to 2021. 50 years of failure.
Hey, they're the
50 years of failure.
Milwaukee Bucks.
1971 to 2000. Michael Jordan, 15 years. Yo, I was like, I want to. Giannis, stop it right now, bro. Stop it. Michael Jordan said he was a failure a lot of times.
Got up out of there.
Bro, listen, I'm going to just tell it to y'all straight. Y'all was very nice. Bro, that shit he said, and we so far deep into the YouTube that it doesn't even matter. They ain't tracking cuss words. That was some loser shit. You were the 1 seed. You told us you had a goal to win a championship. You lost in 5 to an 8th seed, a team that even their own fans gave them 0 chance to win.
Barely made the playoffs.
In 5, Jimmy Butler dropped 56 on your head. Then you turn around and still say, I wish I would have guarded Jimmy Butler after scoring 42. That was some loser shit. And then what really pissed me off, and this is my example, I hate when millionaires and billionaires try and be philosophers because y'all ain't speaking to the masses. Y'all speaking to the 1%. And it's crazy because coincidentally in 48 hours, we had 2 idiots talk to us like they philosophers, and they in a whole nother tax bracket that we can't relate. Steve Harvey and Giannis, y'all both win donkey of the day for what y'all tried to tell us. Because Steve Harvey tried to tell us that a man's job, you're supposed to take care of your woman. This 50-50 stuff that this young generation has, da-da-da. Yeah, it's easy to say that when you're worth $1 billion, bro. Cool, whatever. And you on your third marriage. Ain't trying to hear from you. And then Giannis talking about, oh, Eric, was it really a failure when I get to go take care of my kids and I get to go, bro, we didn't ask you about your pockets, bro. We asked you about your production on the basketball court. That's what we asked you. We asked you about the sport of basketball that you get paid $220 million or whatever your contract is to get paid. You did not perform. We were not asking about what you get to do with your kids in the offseason. We was not asking about how fun Cancun about to be. We said, was your basketball season a failure? Nobody called Giannis a failure at life, and he took it as if we're saying his life is a failure. No, bro, we know the people who are critiquing you are maybe making six figures at best. We understand that. The max guy that's asking you questions probably makes $250,000 a year. We know you make $250 million a year. Yes, bro, you are shitting on us at life. But guess what? The Miami Heat just shitted on you on the basketball court, and that's your job, and I'm doing my job by asking me, was your job a failure? Because guess what? My job is to ask you these kind of questions. I asked you, and now you mad at me, and you want to tell me about what all fun you can have to do with your kids, and you paying to take care of your mama and your daddy. We know that. That's what comes with the $250 million contract. Also comes expectations. When you win a championship, we expect you to get there again. When you the 1 seed, Eastern Conference Finals, nothing less. That's the expectation. So don't try and shit on me because I don't make $250 million. Bro, you're a failure.
Flag on the play.
I'm done.
I'll say this too, though. To your point too, with the, I wish I would have guarded Jimmy. That is that competitive because you're supposed to be the best player in the league, and you watch this man score 40, and you don't go say
that makes zero sense.
I got him. So,
hey, because Jimmy sure told Coach Spo.
But hold on.
I just want to say that to Fresh's point, just real quick.
Fresh is called Mo Smith, y'all.
No, Mo brought up Steve Harvey.
It sounded like a full bit, though.
Steve Harvey. Was that on Shannon Sharp show?
Yeah, that was on Shannon Sharp show. Yeah, and that part pissed me off because I'm like, yeah, you're worth $1 billion and you're trying to tell us average men that we can't go 50-50 with our woman or we can't expect our woman to pay for dinner because I'm not making $1 billion. But that's why I say the difference between Jimmy and Giannis. Jimmy, Coach Spo drew up a play for that last play of the game, and guess what? It wasn't to Jimmy. You know what Jimmy did? He told Coach Spo, nah, put the ball in my hands. I'm going to put us in overtime. We going to win on my behalf or we going to lose on my behalf, and I'm going to weigh that on my shoulders. Giannis could have said, nah, coach, Drew getting cooked. That's my guy. I love him, but he's getting cooked. I'm finna guard him because you know what? Jimmy Butler guarded Giannis. That's all I'm saying. When he was bullying Bam down low, Jimmy Butler got on Giannis. No hesitation. I bet Coach Spo said, all right, cool. So if Coach Bud won't do it, fire him. Like if Coach Bud won't allow Giannis to be the superstar and make those kind of decisions where I'm going to guard the best player and I'm going to do this and no, put the ball in my hands at the end of the game. But at the same time, Giannis don't want the ball at the end of the game if it's a possibility.
Yo, did you see the play, the tip off when they tipped it and he got the ball and he just chucked it.
Chris Middleton? Yeah, he ain't want that.
He was more scared than stealing out the cookie jar.
I think Giannis lost his best player in the world title after this year because it looked like he had it. I'm sorry, it revoked. He revoked.
He's still top 5, top 3, but at the same time, bro, like the value of the value of what we saw in that series, bro, you got to be critiqued a little bit. Like you got to drop down because if that was LeBron or Steph or Kevin Durant,
he's never been better than 30 in the pace.
I ain't even just gonna make it about LeBron. If it's LeBron, Kevin Durant, or Steph, and they did that in a closeout game, and then they turned around and said that. Those 3 guys are absolutely getting killed. They're not going to coddle him and call Kevin Durant a philosopher. They're going to be like, you didn't want it in the biggest moment. You tried to give up the free throws. You ran to Golden State to try and win. They was going to pull all that out. But Giannis, because he's the media darling, he did it the right way. That's where they get him.
You're going to get canceled, bro.
Right way. I don't care.
You're going to get canceled.
I'll go to one of them other social media sites. I don't give a damn.
You're going to go on Rumble?
Yeah.
The Donald Trump one?
Yeah, I'll go one more time, Mo. Yeah, I'll go one more time.
Mo, do the press conference in Giannis' voice.
Do it one more time.
This is what Giannis said. Eric, You asked me that question last year.
Oh man, no cap.
And it,
No cap.
That's literally what he said. He knows him. He said, Eric,
No cap.
you asked me that question last year. Do I consider when you don't get a promotion a failure? You got to feed your family, right? If you don't get the promotion, is that a failure? All right, I'm done. I'm done.
poor Eric. Poor Eric, man. He's
Eric.
just trying to do his job. It
Yeah.
probably wasn't even his question. They told him
They
about
get
it.
crucified by a $250 million man, and he just got a shit on. Eric went home and was like, "Babe, I know I ain't making enough money, but shit, like
Eric's Twitter mentions are probably blowing
I
up. but
can't
yeah.
take you to Cancun, but I can take you to Minnesota. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not Giannis. I can't take you to Cancun, but I'll take you to Minnesota.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I think that was a rare L for Giannis.
Loser
I
shit.
think it was just too much and none of that philosophy. It's like, yo, just keep it a buck with the guys. Hey, it was a failure, or switch it up the words, but it was too much. But Bucks need to figure some things out, because it could be a rough few years, because they're in a cap hell. They got no picks, and all their guys are over 30. On the wrong side of 30. So they need to figure some things out.
They're worse than the Miami. They're worse off than the Miami Heat right now. That's crazy.
Because Spo, man, but Spo helps you guys so much and all that. But we talked about like Spo does that, but
it's still even looking at trade packages. Like, you're like, at least if we were trying to upgrade, like as much as you can say, Tyler,
and they're not a destination either. You guys are a destination. That's what helps you guys, is that Miami is a destination, and nobody's going to Wisconsin.
No state taxes over there in Florida. So, hey, Giannis.
Yeah. We could talk about that on another show.
I'll wear a 34 Miami Heat jersey with Giannis on. Yeah. Just don't leave Thanasis and the other one where they at, though. Leave them with that. Don't bring Thanasis.
Man, no.
I think he would go to the Lakers before Miami.
Man, Thanasis will be another Udonis Haslem, just a younger version. I don't need that. Send his ass back to Greece.
We start working out with guys who could shoot past 15 feet. So let's get a new workout routine and all that. But
you need to work out with somebody that's actually had some type of playing career.
He need to get with Phil Handy. That's what he needs.
He needs a handle. He needs a handle. He got no bag. He needs some bag. Like, we can't just bulldoze your way through the lane and all that. But
he need to come out here and go get right with Rico Hines at UCLA in the run.
Go get right with Phil.
It definitely needs a change in his training for sure. He definitely needs some, because missing 12 free throws and all that. Like, we could blame the head coach and all that, Coach Booze, but missing 12 free throws, like, that hurts you too. That's not Booze's fault.
That is
what about Bud not calling the timeout, though?
No. I'm just saying, like, that's definitely fair. That's a valid.
You're right. I'm just adding on to.
No. Bud he messed up a lot. Like, not putting Brooke Lopez in the game, and that Jimmy play where he made the bucket at the end and all that. Like, why isn't your biggest player in the game? Like, that just makes. We all know that. We know that we do that in under 8 leagues. We would do like, put the biggest player in it so that guy doesn't get an easy. So that this Bud definitely messed up, and Bud, I can also see Bud's head was just in the gutter and all that. His brother, like, when they said his brother died, I was like, oh, maybe that's why he made a couple bad decisions, because his head was just in the gutter. Like, yo, his bro died, like, killed, like, so, and rest in peace and all that to his brother. That's a horrible way, especially during a massive series, like, to find out like that. That's rough. So, shout out to Coach Bud and all that, but Bucks need to figure some things out. But we got a series right now. Boston and 76ers. There's no Joel Embiid. Obviously, that's massive. He got the knee. The knee might be worse than than they're telling us, and I think it is worse. And it's like another year with the Sixers and him being hurt and all that. And that's unfortunate. He's probably going to win the MVP, win his first MVP and all that. But this series had a lot of this. If we had Joel on this, this series would be real spicy and all that. But Joel missing time and all that, and Harden only had, like, I think 17. He averaged 17, still averaged, I think, like 10 assists and all that. Maxey was essentially the second best scorer and all that. So just give me some thoughts on this series, and how much of the Joel injury kind of affects how you can even predict this series, because I feel like it's going to be hard to give a prediction on what the series is going to be if Joel is out.
Harden balling right now. Just to throw that out there. I know we on this show and we missing it, but I'm looking at the stats. They down 3 at halftime. Harden got 21, 4 assists, 3 of 5 from the 3, 9 for 14 from the field. So
and that's what they need. So
Taking
he needs to
offense.
step up, and then him, Tobias need to step up, and all that. Those guys need to step up when Joel is out. So
Tobias
that's
got
definitely big
11.
minutes.
Like Tyrese Maxey got 7. But I mean, outside of that, I just seen that Jason Tatum had a 20-point second quarter, and they're only up 3 right now with Harden balling. So I'm just saying, like, hey, maybe Harden can hold it down if Embiid comes back. But Embiid ain't ever gonna be 100% in this series. He ain't even gonna be. They say he might be 70%. So that's tough.
Mo, don't even just say this serious. His entire career, bro, he's never been.
We've said, yeah.
bro.
I don't think we're ever gonna get a healthy Joel Embiid.
And I hate to say that, but bro, he's literally been hurt. They last 4 playoff runs, bro. He's had some type of injury every single time, bro. Like, I like Embiid. I've said Embiid's the best big in the league sometimes, but like, bro, eventually you got to get right. I don't know if his knees can't support his upper body. I don't know if his diet's trash, whatever it is.
285 pounds. That's a lot of weight to hold too.
I'm like, dog, you got to get right. But I mean, with this one, it's like Philly can compete, but I don't really see it because they just don't have, bro. It's a wings league, and they don't have the wings to compete with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. That's all it comes down to for me, bro. Like, when you got 2 wings like that, and you don't. Your best matchup is Tobias. Like,
yeah.
And Tobias, you can make a case. I hate to say it, but Tobias might be on one of the worst max contracts in the league. You feel me? So
it's up there.
I don't know.
That's in the starting 5 of bad max contracts.
It's a bad one. Of course, they got Doc. We ain't got to get into Doc. But
I forgot about Doc for a second. I was like, oh, that's
Harden can't hold it down, but he gonna need Tobias and Tyrese to be with him. Like, he can't just do it by himself. But bro, Embiid at this point, like, we should be used to Embiid being hurt, bro. It's not like when you just said it's probably worse than what it is. I'm 100% sure it's probably worse than what it is because it's been hurt for the past decade, probably at this point. Like, since he came into the league, he
missed the first 2.5 years. He missed the first 2.5 years. Remember, he only played like 30 games in his 3rd year in the league.
And I hate it because he's been healthy a little bit the past couple years, like healthier, shall I say, to what he's been, but. Yeah, I'm at a point though where it's like if you're a Philly fan, you should expect bro to be hurt. And I hate to say that for real.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. It really is. Dub Fresh, how we feel about the series and how much does the Embiid injury affect how you predict the series? And even though they're playing good right now in the first half, but just game 1 and all that. Sometimes game 1s are kind of hard to figure out and all that. But how we feeling about this series with if Joel's gonna? Because I've heard he's gonna miss game 2. I've heard that, but like I said, more than likely he will miss game 2. So how are we feeling about this series if Joel is not?
That changes everything because, like Kev said, when you got 2 wings like Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, it's just hard if you can't. It's tough if you can't go back at them with wings on your own, and having Embiid kind of balances that out because they don't have. Shout out to their team defense. Shout out to Time Lord and all that. But they don't have a single player that can guard Joel Embiid one-on-one. And having Embiid that would make a big difference because, like you say, Harden killing right now. You could go to Embiid in the 4th quarter to close it. But not having him, like, I don't think people realize, just to go back real quick, how important Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen is to the NBA and why so many big men don't have championships. If you can't throw the ball down there in the post, is it even gonna matter for real? And that's their whole thing. Like, we got a 6'8" shooting guard, small forward, and a 6'10" small forward, power forward, and they can defend everywhere on the court, on and off the ball. So I don't even know if having 80% Joel Embiid would help for real. So shout out to them for holding it down right now, but this might be a long series for Philly, to tell the truth.
Yeah, for me, it changes a lot. Like, I'm with Kev too. Like, I don't think he's ever going to be healthy. I was literally talking to one of my homies about it earlier because he's a Philly fan because he's a James Harden fan. And Embiid is such a big dude, like 7'2".
We should talk about Embiid. How we talk about Zion.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was saying. He's about 32, almost 300. He got to be like, what, 280?
He's like 285, right? I think he's always listed at 285.
And the way he moves isn't normal for somebody his size. I mean, you come into the league with foot injuries and his knee injuries. And
goofy.
Like, if he's healthy, Joel Embiid, realistically, to me, he's really the best player in the league. Like, what can he do? He's there defensively and offensively, but he's not there.
He does it, yeah. Defensively too, he does it too. Yep.
Injuries has taken 2 MVPs from him. I don't know if he would have got it last year, but 2 years ago he would have won it for sure if he didn't get hurt. So I don't know. I don't think Philly could beat Boston without him because you don't have, as all of y'all have said, you don't have the wings to go at them. And I just need Tobias Harris to play like half of his salary, and maybe they got a chance. You don't got to play like a $40 million max player. Just play like a $20 million player, and maybe they got a chance. But it's gonna be tough for Embiid to beat Boston, and Boston trying to get back to the finals. So
Yeah, Boston got a chip on their shoulder because a lot of that series versus Atlanta was probably a little longer than it should have went and all that. Trey, hit the dagger in Game 5 and all that. But Boston's got a chip. It's gonna be tough though. If Joel is not 100%, which he's not, like Kev, he's not going to be 100%. So we're not going to get maybe even 85% Joel Embiid. So that's going to be tough, for Philly to overcome, unless James Harden if that Houston James Harden comes out for a series, maybe they can have a chance and all that. But we'll see what happens. It's tough and all that. But let's head on west quick and do a couple of these series. We got the Lakers and the Golden State Warriors in the second round. LeBron versus Steph in I think the fifth time in the playoffs. First time not in the finals and all that. The Kings gave the Warriors everything they got. For a team that doesn't have a lot of playoff experience, first time they made the playoffs since 2006. I believe. It was a great run for the Kings. They probably had that. I think with Game 5 when Harrison missed it. Was it Game 5? That they could have had that. So they had their chances and all that. Kings just, a very young team, and I think they'll figure it out. The Warriors experienced Steph Curry went off in Game 7, took over and all that. And the Lakers with Memphis, it was just too much. The Lakers were just, they were talking too much, talking spicy. Ja's hand injury, Dylan Brooks, no size. It was too much for Memphis. So now we got that. Obviously, the series got a lot of intriguing storylines off the court, on the court. Like I just mentioned, Steph versus LeBron, part 5 in the playoffs. What do you guys feel like are the keys in this series for the Lakers or Golden State to take home and to take this series and head on to the Western Conference Final? 2 lower seeds too, right? Which is very different. We got Lakers who are a 7 seed, Warriors 6 seed, and all that. What do you guys feel like you need to, are going to be the keys for either team to win this? Mo, give me some keys for the Lakers. Give me some keys for the Warriors for either team to win the series.
I ain't gonna go long on this. The key for the Lakers, LeBron needs to play better. Pause. Big pause. I think LeBron needs to play better, but at the same time, I think like he was trying to prolong how long he could play into the playoffs by everybody else was kind of stepping up against Memphis. He played hard in spurts and it was enough to win in 6. So I think, we have to value that. But at the same time, I do think LeBron is old. He's in year 20 to have these.
He's showing his age finally. He's showing his age.
To have these expectations like this man is 2016 LeBron isn't fair, but at the same time, that is going to be laid on him because he won a playoff series. Now we're going to be in the championship or bust conversation with him, and I really don't care. I love to see LeBron get one, but at the same time, I don't think it's realistic. And when it comes to the Warriors, you just need Steph to be great, bro. It really comes to the great players. You need Steph to be great. You need Klay to step up a little bit. He didn't play that bad. Everybody got stopped the whole he played terrible in the King series. He really didn't. He did have 2 bad games in the 7-game series. That's fine. Klay is older at the same time. But if I'm the Lakers, I try and get in Draymond Green's head. I don't think he'll allow it now because he's been so friendly with LeBron. I don't think there will be that kind of discourse between Draymond Green and the Los Angeles Lakers.
Well, yeah, he loves LeBron. We see on his podcast. I think he's part-time Lakers fan too.
The last thing I'll say though is the Lakers have the disadvantage with coaching, and that can very well matter. Steve Kerr is a better coach than Darwin Ham. I know it's Ham's first year, so I'm not labeling Ham a bad coach, but you even seen it with Mike Brown. His first year back as a head coach in some years, the Golden State Warriors had the better head coach, and then after Saturday's speech, they had the better leader. So I really just think it comes down to you need LeBron to play better, and you need the Lakers to be able to dominate physically because they are bigger than the Golden State Warriors. But 3-pointers count more than 2-pointers, and Memphis couldn't put the ball from deep like Golden State could. So it is when you dominating big, 3-pointers count more than 2-pointers. So that is going to be a difference. If the Warriors catch fire, bro, you can't ask D'Lo, Schroeder, and Austin Reeves to answer.
No, and I think Austin Reeves might, and that's what. Guys, I'm going to ask you this. Well, what are the matchups you need to see? Who do you think needs to guard? What are the main matchups? Who does Draymond need to guard? Who does Vanderbilt need to guard? Who needs to guard? Who needs to be on Steph? That to me is probably the number one. Are you just throwing Schroeder at him? Are we throwing Reeves at him? Like, give me some matchups we need to see for either team, to have success.
Me personally, I mean, I've seen people say that they're contemplating on starting Schroeder and taking out Vando to get that spacing, but I think I'll put Vando on Steph, bro. Just to
Do
give
you
him
think
that.
that's too much for him? Because yes, he's big and all that, but do you think that because he's so big and all that he'll be able to, with the back and forth, you leave Steph?
Yeah, just because he got that wingspan too, so if Steph get a step on him, bro, he'll be right there still. Like Vando, a big motherfucker.
Yeah,
So
6'9".
yeah, so I do that, and then if I'm them, I'd have Draymond guard Vando so you can help off and try and stop LeBron in the paint or AD in the paint. Same thing. So, I mean, Looney and AD is gonna be a hell of a matchup. AD, Mo talked about like they need their best players to be their best players on both sides. AD got to be consistent every single game. The Lakers can't afford for him to just be on one night and gone the other, bro. It's no more time for that. You feel me? Like you got to get it right, bro. AD he been too inconsistent for my liking. I know Laker fans get fed up with that being out here. They be over that, so they need that in the worst way. But I mean, I think those are probably the key matchups. To be honest, I'm curious to see. Brown will probably take A. Wiggins, more than likely, I assume. And A. Wiggins, another one like that. I think that's the best thing going for the Warriors in this series is that because A. Wiggins missed that amount of time, he's still getting back into the rhythm. You feel me?
Yeah.
So every game, he just getting back to himself, and that should bode well for him. But Steph needs somebody to come with him because they need that second option, bro. You could get past the Kings with just Steph, but you're not gonna get past the Lakers with just Steph. Like as great as he is, they need either Clay to be consistent or A. Wiggins. I don't really trust Jordan Poole. I don't know how y'all feel about him. I never really would.
You can't trust him now.
Yeah, they need one of them boys to step up. Otherwise, I got Lakers in 6. I ain't gonna lie.
Lakers in 6. Like I said, hope is how we feeling and matchups we want to see and shooting. Do you think the shooting of the Warriors can overcome the the size of the Lakers?
Yeah, I think the Lakers' size is going to be, I guess, the key to this because they do have like long wing players that can also play in the front court. I wouldn't start Schroeder. I would want to keep Vando out there, but I would be worried about Vando having to guard Steph and then putting LeBron on Wiggins because now I feel like you're either putting D'Angelo Russell or Austin Reeves in a bad defensive matchup. So if you're going to take somebody out of the start lineup, it should probably be one of them because I don't want either one of them have to fight off Draymond or have to chase – one of them have to chase Clay around. And I think, like Mo said, Clay not playing bad for real. So it's going to be a tough matchup. That Lakers going to have to figure out a way to get Anthony Davis to realize that, A, Kevon Looney probably can't stay in front of him, and B, Draymond Green is probably too short to contest most of his shots. Kev said Anthony Davis got to be like, I'm better than Giannis at this point. Like, no disrespect to Giannis, but he got to start that conversation again with this series. Like, there's nobody on Golden State.
I forgot who said somebody was talking about Anthony Davis. Is like he should be up there with Giannis and Joel Embiid as one of the more and Jokic as one of the best. Yeah. Yeah, one of the best bigs in the league, but like it's like he shows it in spurts.
It's not there every day.
It's not there every day. Right. And like we saw in the playoffs too. There's some games where you're like, yo, this is special, and then there's some games you're like, okay, this is why, we get people get frustrated.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. And I think, Anthony Davis is the key. Steph, like, he's probably not gonna go cold, but at least there's like some kind of recipe there, I think, for stuff. Like the Warriors really should theoretically have nobody for Anthony Davis. And if he's the best player in the series, like I think the Lakers could win in 6. But I don't think that's gonna happen, honestly. I think AD's gonna be inconsistent. Kevon Looney he's my starting center on the all NBA, all solid team. And
he's gonna bother AD. He's gonna bother him a little bit.
Yeah, he's gonna bother him, and AD gonna beat him a few times. He's gonna make some tough buckets, but Kevon Looney isn't gonna go anywhere. So you're gonna need AD to rise to the occasion, honestly. And LeBron is LeBron, but AD can't continue to let LeBron carry him. Like even if you look at the stats, the Lakers won as a team in the last year. You look at the stats, and I told you LeBron averaged 22 points. He shot 47% from the field, 19% from 3. Probably think they lost that series. AD averaged like 20 and 9, like
Yeah, in the
That's
last
not
series,
going to
yeah,
be
yeah,
good
yeah.
enough. It's not going to be good enough, especially
No.
as
LeBron
Mobile
averaged
is
22 points, 19% from three, and AD was 20 points and I think 12 rebounds a game. So, like you said, if I told you those stats, you'd be like, oh, they lost in 5 or 6.
Exactly, and especially with Looney getting these 20 rebound games, he might have to be on the boards. He might have to play big, and Steph. We've seen him we saw last year in the finals in that, what was that, game 3, where he goes for 43, and now he just scores 50 in game 7. We know Steph is going to be there, and I don't doubt LeBron is going to do what he got to do, but he really needs AD to carry his weight this time.
AD's got to be the best player in the series for them to win. If AD's not the best player, then they can't get away. They were able to get away with, like we just mentioned the stats, right? LeBron 22 points a game, 19 from 3. AD 20 points a game. They were able to get away with Memphis because Memphis was missing guys, and they just, I don't know. Memphis is just out of whack. They got a lot of shit going on over there. You ain't gonna do that against the Warriors. You can't have those numbers and expect to beat the Warriors and all that. So that's gonna be tough for them. And just like who's gonna be on Steph? Who's gonna constantly be able to give Steph a problem and all that? He's gonna be Steph. He's gonna be able to get up shots, but who can make it tough on him? Right, and that's going to be the thing. Is it going to be Austin Reeves? Is it going to be Schroeder and all that? Do you put D'Lo, have him come off the bench and all that? So but this is going to be a fun series. There's going to be a lot to talk about and all that. And for AD, I think this is big for him. This could be a not a legacy game, but this could really change out people's perception on him. If he dominates, because like we just said, he should be up there with some of those bigs, an MVP candidate yearly, easily. Right. Easily, because he's probably talented than Giannis and all that, and we just don't see it because like LeBron, he's 38 years old. It's like, if I'm LeBron, like, bro, you need to take over.
Right.
He been trying to pass the torch for at least the past 3 years.
We thought that was gonna be in the bubble, right? We thought that was the bubble, right?
Like, please.
Yeah, he's begging you because LeBron don't look like he has that burst anymore. Like, he can't just take over. Like, those days are gone. So like AD, like, you got to take it. And if he don't, then they might be packing up and then in this series, 5 or 6 games and all that. Right. So he needs to step up big time and all that because and they're role players. I played solid and all that, but the Warriors team, they still in it, man. It's crazy. We keep thinking they're dead. We keep thinking this team is dead and they're staying alive and all that, but it should be an entertaining series. But let's go to the next series and then we can cap it out. But obviously Denver versus the Suns. Suns took care of business in the first round with the Clippers because them guys just didn't want to play. Kawhi was, he was hurt. Paul George. You know how I feel about Paul George. So let's say less about him. But they took care of business with the Clippers, and then in that series, and then the Nuggets. I don't even know what they played, but they won in 4 or 5. Don't even matter. Like, they took care of business and all that.
Vinny, it don't matter though.
Yeah, it don't matter. Just free Ant-Man. That's it. That's all we're gonna say. Free Ant-Man and all that. I got a player for you.
Free Ant-Man to Ant-Man.
But all that. But obviously Denver. Come on. Dub, man. Well, you know what he could do with his left hand? He could drive. Literally drive. He can drive. He can make a left turn. He can make a right turn. He likes the cold weather. He's Canada. He's from Canada. So, he's used to the cold weather. This will be an easy fit, Because I guarantee, if hypothetical, if Ant-Man were to come to New York, he's wearing the Clyde. He's going to Clyde, and he's wearing one of those coats the first game.
Yeah.
He wants to do that.
Him and Clyde is going to rep for the city of Atlanta in New York.
Yeah, Clyde's working on that deal for us, but for game 1, Denver put Phoenix. They put it towards Phoenix. Like, they showed their depth and all that. And the one thing I worry about with Phoenix is we know they got Book, right? Midi God. We know they got KD. We know they got CP. But the drop is significant. Like, very, very significant after that. Where Denver, they got a well-balanced machine and all that. And so is that something we should work? Is game 1 just like, that was game 1? We didn't really, it's not real feel of what the series is going to be like. Or if you're a Phoenix, are we like, oh God, this is going to be a lot tougher than we expected. Kev, how are we feeling about this series right now?
Man, if you're Monty, you should be kind of concerned because the Joker had a cool game, but I think what Aaron Gordon had like 20 plus,
Yeah,
Jamal
good
had
game.
20 plus. I think Bruce Brown had like 14, something like that. Like you can't have that. You can get killed by the Joker, but if Joker's not killing, everybody else is killing you. That's a major cause for concern. So I'm not even thinking about Phoenix's offense. Like, bro, eventually you got to get some stops, bro. You have to, because if Aaron Gordon's killing you, bro, that's a problem. Because Aaron Gordon ain't killed nobody like that
But
offensively.
that goes back to last series. Didn't what's his face went off for 40? Norman Powell went off for 40
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
So they've been giving up points for a while.
So yeah, they got to get stops, bro. Because I don't care how much firepower you got, bro. They always say defense wins championships, and that's real.
Mhm.
And right now they're not stopping nobody. Again, it's only game one, so I don't really put too much stock in the game ones because game one is like a feel out game for most dudes. But bro, if they don't respond tonight, they go down 0-2. I mean, you still don't flinch because you got two at the crib, but I mean, dog, like you got to get one in Denver. If you finish, you have to steal this one, and you're gonna need a game from D Book. Obviously, he's been hooping this entire playoffs, but KD too. KD had like 7 turnovers. He said he can't afford that, which you can't. But to me, again, bro, like you can live with the Joker killing you, but you can't afford for them other guys to kill you, bro. There's no reason for that to happen. So they got to hunker down. And for Denver, bro, like you just got to keep doing what y'all doing. Y'all been doing it for a minute. Y'all been together for a minute, and just keep trusting y'all system. Keep trusting y'all coaching for real.
Yeah. Dove, fresh. Do we need to see a more aggressive Kevin Durant? Because it feels like, especially in this first round series, in the first round, wasn't as he could have probably been a little bit more aggressive. I understand that they got Book was doing his thing, but do we need to see a more aggressive KD, in this series for them to come out and head to the Western Conference Finals?
I think as far as playmaking, yes, because the efficiency scoring wise is going to be there because he got up 19 shots in the first game, almost like 30 points. But like you said, he had 7 turnovers, and I think he had 2 assists, 1 assist, 3 assists.
Yeah, because the first round he had, I think he had 5 assists. I think every game, I believe.
Right.
In that first round series.
He had to play make more in Brooklyn, so he really kind of evolved his play. I feel like a little more over the last couple of years. And I know in Phoenix, Chris Paul is going to handle the ball, but Chris Paul is really going to have to pick his spots more than ever, especially just because of age, too. He just can't do it like that. So I think Book is going to, he's going to be an assassin scoring wise. I think this is a chance for KD to, really facilitate and take the pressure off of Chris Paul's son. And especially because they're gonna need him to do that. You're gonna need people to make shots, but you're gonna have to get them even easier shots if that's possible. And like Kev said though too, I agree with the supporting cast. Like Denver shot the light. I think they shot 43% from 3. Like Gordon was hitting threes, KCP was knocking them down. You just got to get some stops too. So he's stepped his game up defensively. So you got to be more aggressive on that end too, and kind of lead the way for them, especially when DeAndre Ayton out there playing weak. Just like Levo plays weak also, but he's going. But offensively, overall, you're gonna have to be aggressive, period, because they're just not getting it from their bench, shooting,
that bench,
anything or whatever. They're playing. They're basically like choosing between Shamet and Damian Lee. Whoever makes a shot first, that's who's gonna play. Because the other one ain't making shots. Biyombo's the only center coming off the bench, so he's playing even though he can't catch the ball. And you really got nobody else. I think Okogie or Craig are playing, so you're gonna need Book and KD to really lead them. I don't think Denver's a tough team though. I didn't take them lightly. Denver could win the championship. They can legit win the championship. I think Phoenix they're gonna be better than we saw in that first game.
Yeah, and KD with his shooting, and I think only a couple times he took over 20 shots since he's been with Phoenix. So I think he's playing his game. But they might need him to be like, hey, KD, it's time to put the cape on. We need you here, So he might have to have one of those games where he's taking a little bit over 25 shots, but we know his shots are crazy efficient shots. So, it's not going to be crazy shots and all that, but he might have to do that, because they just don't got there's nothing on that bench. And that's the killer is that they got nothing on that bench.
Being new there and, even though they've been successful, is still trying to figure it out and not step on toes and want to let Book do his thing and not because he's the best player there by far, right? Like Book is hooping. He had 2 back-to-back 45-point games, but KD's the best player there. So do he gotta assert himself like that? Just like, hey, follow my lead, like you said, put the cape on.
He might have to. Because if he goes, it's different when he's dropping 45 and all that. Like it's a different, you know, because it's like I said, it's on less shots and all that. But he might have to put the cape on, and that feel like it's always been with Kevin Durant. Like sometimes we're just like, bro, he could be dropping 40 a game realistically. Like he's just that good and all that. But in this series, he might have to put the cape on and just be like, hey, it's time to take over and all that. Like I know, Book, you've been here for a minute. This is you drafted here, but they got me for a reason. You guys traded me for a reason, right? It's to help you get over the top and all that. So, because like I said, that's it. You only got 2 real scorers right now because DeAndre Ayton, I don't know. I don't know, man. That might be something they got to figure that out in the offseason. They got to figure that out in the offseason with him because.
And it's funny because they got him locked in long term too. So
that was like the most forced max contract ever, right? Like,
yeah, they should have let him walk. They should have left. They didn't want him there, and it's like he plays like that at certain times of the year where it's like, I really don't want to be here, and I want to remind y'all that.
Yeah, he cries
like,
too much.
He really playing weak, or he didn't want to be out that game one for whatever reason because he don't really want to be in Phoenix. But Kevin Durant could definitely be more aggressive offensively, and I think that's the only way you open up everybody else because if nobody else is gonna make shots, of course, it's easy for when Bruce Brown and KCP in the game, like both them 6'5" with 7'1" wingspans. It's easy for both them to, one to shade off and one to guard them. And then Landry Shamet not making nothing. Bismack Biyombo can't catch a lob. Chris Paul, like, I ain't never nice to Chris Paul. Chris Paul is trash right now. I ain't even gonna hold back. Like, I ain't never gonna hold back Chris Paul. Chris Paul is trash. Jamal Murray.
He barbecue chicken.
Jamal Murray did to Chris Paul is what Steph Curry was doing to Chris Paul when Steph Curry was ready to take that next leap. And I don't know. I ain't saying Jamal Murray finna take that leap, but that's what Jamal Murray was looking like against Chris Paul. Like Denver's just trading for over the top talent. You got to know you're gonna win. It's worth the sacrifice when you win it. We gonna judge you harshly when you don't. Phoenix in the middle of the season went for over the top talent, which destroyed their bench defensively, depth-wise. And if you only got 2 players that can really consistently make a basket for you, you ain't even got firepower for real. So we really going off a lot of people pick Phoenix to win this series off the strength of Kevin Durant and Devin Booker being so much better than anybody on Denver's perimeter. That is like none of that other stuff was going to matter. And all that stuff is about to matter right now. And we need to speak on, I know we've said it before, but Mike Malone is just a really good coach. Like, at the end of the day, like, shout out to Muncie. I'm not saying he's better than Muncie, but
he really is. And you know what's crazy? Mike Malone didn't make the playoffs his first 3 years. He missed the playoffs the first 3 years. And like most coaches get fired after 2 years not making the playoffs. I don't know, 3. First 3 years to make the playoffs. And you got to give him credit for sticking with him and understanding, right, this is a process and all that. We can't just keep firing coaches. We believe in him, and they made the playoffs the last 6 years with him and all that, or 7 years with him. So, shout out, and this might be the year for them. This could be it because a lot of people were sleeping on. Maybe they're not. There might be another year where they're in the second round and they get bounced up, but now they put the pressure on Phoenix in this game too. That's why I think winning game 1 is crucial. Because you set the tone right away. You win game 1, now the other team, like for Miami and Knicks not winning game 1, that puts a lot of pressure on the Knicks, because now Jimmy might be out. So it's like, all right, now we could, hey, if we got to lose this one and take it and get ready to go back to Miami, at least we took away home court right away. It's not the other way around. Because imagine if Miami, Kev, if it was the other way around and we had Knicks won game 1 and now Jimmy's hurt with the ankles and now it's like, damn, man, we might go down too. It's a big thing to come. Now you flipped it. I think winning game 1 is very crucial in every series to set the momentum and to set the tempo from the jump. Miami set the tone from the jump in the Bucks series, and now they're setting the tone in the Knicks series and all that. And I think Denver, they laid it to the Phoenix like, hey, we don't care who you got. Kevin Durant, oh, that's cool. He's top 50. Okay, Booker, he's cool. No, we good. I don't care. It's Joker and just my guys. They ain't all stars, but hey, we were rocking with them, and they won they whooped them. And that second quarter was the difference. Second quarter, I think they outscored them by 20 points, and that was essentially was the difference in the game. So they set the tone early in the game and early in the series so far. So, let's see if they keep it up. But Phoenix, they got to figure things out outside of Book and KD, because if it's the same blueprint, this might be, guys, this series might be done in 5. Denver might just be cruising to the conference final.
Might just stay in row throw. You're right.
It might be cruising to the conference final while the Lakers and Warriors beat each other up and playing these 7-game series, a 6-game series against physical teams, might go 7 with each other. They're cruising, chilling, healthy. So, they're gonna figure it out. But I don't know if you see your guy Matt Ishbia, right? His name Matt Ishbia, the Detroit, the Michigan State. He did some new thing with I don't know if you guys saw with the there's no more cable TV. Like he got rid of that and just like, if you just want it, it's there.
Yeah,
like, it's free and all that, which I thought was an underrated cool thing, because it's so expensive. Like I know the Knicks are doing that, but it was like $89.99 a month, something like that. And a lot of teams are going towards that direct consumer, but charging and all that. And it's like that was actually cool, because he's like, less people are watching on cable, right? Cable numbers are going down. It's like I want more people watching my product. So I thought that was an underrated, a really cool thing he did. So he's doing some cool things. He got KD and all that, but he needs to tell DeAndre Ayton to start being a man and
Dunk the ball, man.
and dunk the ball, dunk the ball. Yeah, play like a big, bro.
When I watch DeAndre Ayton play, I'm literally yelling dunk the ball the whole game. It drives me crazy.
A lot of these bigs frustrate me, like him, Karl Anthony Towns, even Embiid to some extent. But at least Embiid's an MVP.
I got a question real quick about that.
Yeah.
Like, y'all remember we went through a phase where that's what all big men did. Like, you throw it down there, you dunk it. Do you think they not dunk the ball on purpose to get away from that? Because
they don't want to be labeled that. And I think in the youth stage, I think everybody wants to be that stretch big, right? Everybody wants to. So they don't want to just be labeled like a low post, like a Jahlil Okafor. They don't want to be Jahlil, because they see those Jahlil Okafors get phased out of the league. So they want to be able to have a little jump shot or do, have some moves and be creative with the ball in the hand. Bro, they don't want to be Ja, because Ja's out the league. Those players don't play minutes. They play 10, 15 minutes, or they're in, the CBA or, Spanish league in Puerto Rico,
But bro, even if you have it, no, my fault. I'm about to even if you have it, bro, like sometimes you got to use it, because I'm watching 2 instances.
Exactly.
I'm watching Sabonis struggle his butt off. He didn't know what to do. He couldn't do nothing. Like he was
soft too. Yeah. He got dogged.
And then your boy frustrates me more than anybody in the league, Julius Randle, because he's so physical. He just goes away from. He taking Kobe fadeaways. I'm like, bro, you 6'9", 6'8", and you build like a bull. Like, go post up sometimes, bro. You don't gotta do it all the time, but go get some easy.
Establish it to know that people they know. You got that in you. Yeah. You have it in your repertoire. Yeah, but I just think that people just assume. Yeah, I just think people they see the narrative is that if you're a post player, you're not gonna make money, right? You're not gonna make money in the league. You're not gonna play a lot, or might even get a shot in the league, right? Because like I said, Jahlil Okafor is the perfect example. Like if Jahlil Okafor was 5 years before that, he's the number 1 pick, and all that, and you're building a team around him. Now, if Jahlil Okafor comes, and we see it with Zach Edey's and all these big men, right? Kev, we talk about that on Get a Bucket all the time. Shout out to Get a Bucket podcast. Make sure you subscribe and all that. We talk about the bigs that are coming out now. Like some of these bigs, and when Jahlil would probably be the same. It'd be top 5, top 10 picks. But I think that's just the narrative in a lot of these kids' head. Like, if I'm a back to the basket player, if I'm just being rough, I might not get recruited like that, or I might not be, if I make it to the league, I'm not going to be able to make a lot of money or play minutes. Like they're just not valued. So kids are just not learning that no more. But sometimes, how many times do we look at Joel like, or Cat, let's use Cat for perfect. He's a better example because Joel's an MVP. So I won't do that to him. But Cat, how many times you're like, bro, you are 260 5 pounds, and you can barely post up. Who they played in the play-in? Who did they play in the play-in? The
Lakers.
second game. The
OKC.
Lakers.
And OKC.
OKC. And I forgot who they had. I forgot what bruh's name. I forgot who his name, but he had
Nobody
him in the
on
3-point line.
OKC should have been able to guard Cat.
He was pushing him back to the 3-point line. I'm like, bro, you are 2'8". This guy may be 215, and he's bullying you because you're not establishing. And then you just shooting fadeaway threes and all that because you shoot 38%. But yeah, you're shooting it on wide open threes and all that. Like, get in the post, establish that, dominate. Nobody could guard you if you do your thing in the post. Nobody's like, if you could still go in the post. I just feel like guys aren't trained with that mindset, and I feel like that comes at the younger level. It's like, just be stretched. Everybody wants to be a stretch big because that's what gets you paid, being stretched. So I just think that mindset, like I said, Julius too. I get frustrated with watching him, and because I'm like, yo, you big, you 265. Why aren't you just bullying people? And I feel like because he can do the other things. Because like you see, Kentucky, that's all he did was bruising people and all that. Like even, we saw that. And it's like, sometimes these dudes forget they are bigger than most of the guys that are guarding them. Like, yo, just go down there and abuse them, So I don't know. Cat frustrates me the most with that. Because that shit is like, come on, bro. You big, you 265, 7 foot, and you just want to shoot threes. You want to be a guard so bad. You want to be 6'4" so bad. He want to be 6'3", 6'4" so bad. It don't make no sense, bro. It don't make no sense. But that we got there's gonna be some good series, and I'm looking forward to this. Hopefully my Knicks bounce back. We bounce back against Miami and all. I think we could. We got Brunson's got the ankle, but Jimmy got the really bad ankle. That ankle, he got hurt late in that game. So, well, we got a lot of good series going on, and but. This has been fun. Fellas, drop where the people can find you before we sign off. Hoopers.
Man, first of all, appreciate the invite for the show. This was cool. Been a minute. Shout out to everybody that was here tonight. But, you can follow us on Twitter. Just search the Hoopers Pod. And then you can find us anywhere podcasts are available. Just go to Google, search the Hoopers Pod and all that cool stuff.
Google is free. Google is free. Twitter's not free, but Google's free.
Do you Googles like ASAP said?
Do you Googles?
Yeah. Do you Googles?
Hoopers Pod, we here.
Yep. Kev?
Man, you can find me Twitter, Instagram at KevoMufasa7, KevoMufasa7. Get a bucket. Follow Off the Ball Network. And appreciate y'all for having me, man. It was fun.
Yes, sir. And shout out to Mo. Durag Mo for showing up and all that. And you can follow me Off the Ball Pod. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Make sure to give us a like, subscribe on Off the Ball Network YouTube channel, offtheballnetwork.com, OTB_network on Twitter. And on that note, enjoy the rest of this Philly-Boston game. We got a tight one in the fourth quarter. So make sure to enjoy that. Enjoy the rest of the playoffs and all that. We'll be back better than ever. So be well. Be safe. Take care. Peace out.